Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our June Peas penguin habitat. My name is Frankie, and today we have Aaron feeding and Kelly marking down each fish that every single one of our 23 Magellanic penguins are eating today. Now, these guys are from South America. They're a temperate species, which means that they do not need snow or cold weather to survive. Sometimes we offer them a little bit of ice as enrichment, just something new and different to stimulate their minds, but they definitely live in weather very similar to Long Beach. We do have 3 juvenile penguins. We have one on the deck right here, another one up closer to Aaron, and then a third one which is hanging out with the rest of the penguin colony in the water. And you can tell they're babies because they have a different plumage on their chest. They will not molt or lose all of those feathers and look like adults until they are 1 year old. So come next August, they are going to have their first molt, and we're not going to know who they are because they're going to be a completely different looking bird. And with that, we'll probably have another round of chicks that will look like juveniles for a whole year after that. Magellanic penguins have a very specific breeding cycle, and with that, the rest of their migration and feeding is a very, very specific schedule throughout the year. So right now they're in migration mode, which is from about November through February-ish. Around February, they will begin to start nesting, so maybe they'll start grabbing nesting material. And all of these things you can watch on our explore.org cam, where you can kind of see them courting each other and starting to build their nests. If you look along the wall on both sides, you can see little holes. Those are their little burrows. And most of our penguins are paired up. Our young birds, ages 1 to 3-ish, they don't necessarily have a mate. So they kind of hang out and swim around until the next year when hopefully they can find a mate. Aaron is about to feed Roxy. Roxy's one of our Brazilian rescue birds. And we have 4 of those, Roxy, Robbie, Avery, and Kate. And those 4 were found in about 4,000 miles away from where they normally will reside, in a flock of about 30 birds. And I think about 15 of those birds weren't able to be released back into the wild, so we were one of the facilities to take them in. And they are all around 8 years old. Our bit came around 2011, so they're kind of aging with the exhibit. Right now we're feeding Avery, who's one of our Brazilian rescues as well. He's going to run and jump right back into that water. And we're looking for one bird in particular, Chim, but usually he is one of the last birds of the day. So I said earlier, they're in migration mode. That just means that they do a lot of swimming. These birds can swim up to 2,500 miles a year. So if you can imagine, that takes about 4 months, November through February. And they just swim back and forth on the exhibit, and they're very skittish. One thing turns them all back. Like you just saw, they all kind of jumped in the water because one bird dropped a fish and it scared all the other birds. The young birds don't know quite what's going on yet, which is why they didn't jump into the water. They're also not eating, they're just hanging out. So we're about to feed Shim here, hopefully. He's one of our older birds, definitely one of our stronger birds. There we go. And these birds will take their fish down whole because they have bristles inside of their mouth that kind of trap the fish in their throat. I really encourage you to maybe search online to check out what those look like because you don't want to see them up close. Odds are these birds will bite you. They don't necessarily like things poking around in front of their face. He's not hungry. These birds pretty much pick one kind of fish. Wow. And Wally just ate a capelin, which is kind of surprising because normally he eats herring. Herring is a little bit bigger of a fish. And that's kind of an abnormal moment. Only like 3 of our birds eat both fish that we offer, but usually when they pick a type of fish, they go with that fish for the rest of their lives. Right now we have Heidi who's tempting us. Who knows if she's going to eat? She's one of our frequent flyers. She just jumps out of the water, does her rounds, comes up to the bucket, doesn't always eat. Now we have Floyd, one of our other larger birds, taking in a herring. And one thing about these birds is that we have to learn each and every one of them, not only by sight. They do have a band, which is helpful for us, but mostly that's for you all to figure out which bird is which. And if you look to your right on the wall here, you can see all of our birds' band numbers, and you can kind of figure out who's who on your own. But some things that we have to learn is all of their personalities and how they eat. One would think that they would all eat the exact same way, but for some of our birds, we have to toss them fish, we have to give them fish belly up, we have to feed it from the right, we have to feed it from the left. All of our Brazilian rescues have a very specific way of eating, but to their defense, they were wild birds where they ate on their own. Was that Shim? I think Shim got that one. You all might have seen that better from your view down below. Did man Man. I was talking. So we'll probably be finishing up here in just a moment. We kind of like to give all our birds a warning. A lot of times we say 10 more seconds and we really wait for another 3 or 4 minutes. And the birds that come up in those last moments will get their last fish for the day. This is our last feed, and they'll get some more food tomorrow. Coming out of the water right now is Whatever. She is our oldest bird, I believe. And she is a capelin eater. She can eat 15, 16, 17 capelin in one day, where the other birds will eat 3 or 4, maybe 5 herring. She's eating 15 capelin. That's about the ratio from capelin to herring. But she's a pretty small bird, so she enjoys those smaller fish. Hi, Jade. Every year, all of our penguins go through a catastrophic molt. Molting is when a bird loses their feathers. These guys are a little different in the sense that they lose all of their feathers in a matter of 48 hours. So if you ever come here in the summer and you think, oh, that bird doesn't look right, it's probably because he's molting and he's expending all of his energy to push out all of the feathers on their body. And they do that so that they can waterproof themselves. They take about a month to recover from that big molting experience. But they have to have nice, perfect waterproof feathers when they go on their next migration the next season. So as soon as they're all ready to go, they dip their beaks in their uropygial gland, which is just basically oil that keeps their feathers nice and pristine. And then they are ready to do their next migration, and then they start nesting, and they'll have their babies, and they'll do it all over again. They'll bulk up, molt, migrate. And that's really the year in the life of a Magellanic penguin. I'm going to sign off here. It looks like we're finishing up here at the Magellanic Penguin exhibit, June Keys Penguin Habitat. From Aaron to Kelly and myself and all 23 of our penguins, we thank you so much for coming out. Your admission does help us every single day make sure that our penguins get all of the food that they need. So hang out, take some pictures, tag us on any of the social medias. We love to see the photos that you've captured. Have a wonderful day.